All right, what's going on, guys? We have a quick little update before I get on my flight here regarding John Lynch's press conference. So, we're going to go over some of the key topics that he was able to discuss today, some of the key things that I thought were important from what he had to say. But actually, just as we were getting on here, Christian McCaffrey is speaking to the media, and he says that there are no restrictions due to the injuries that he sustained last year. So obviously, he was dealing with the bilateral Achilles tendonitis. He had the patella injury that he suffered against the Bills. So basically, pretty much everything that we've been hearing all offseason up until this point kind of remains is that he is trending in the right direction, and it doesn't sound like there's going to be any setbacks for him moving forward. So obviously that's a great update for the 49ers to get the reigning offensive player of the year back. So that's a good sign. But let's talk about some of the other things that popped out from this press conference. Obviously, one of the big takeaways from today was who's showing up. Who's going to be at day one of voluntary, but who's going to be at the basically first day of the offseason. And we had heard yesterday from Mike Silver that there were questions regarding George Kittle and Brock Purdy, but as it sounds, Brock Purdy did show up today. And as Mike Silver had indicated, that if Brock were to show up, that is likely going to be a strong sign that things are trending in the right direction for the San Francisco 49ers. So that's a good sign that he is showing up. We also heard that George Kittle did not show up today. That it is expected that he is going through some of the contract negotiation stuff. John Lynch was asked if he will be at OTAs, and it does sound like that's still up in the air, but he did say that they have had good communication and they're in good talks so far up until this point. So we'll see how that situation plays out. It's still early in the process. But as long as George is still on the squad after the draft, that will be a good sign. The 49ers also had Trent Williams report today. So you'd love to hear that because obviously you just want to make sure that Trent will be available for next season. We know that every year is going to be kind of up in the air. So we'll see how it goes. Apologies. This is a brand new mic, so I'm trying it out for the first time. If it's not ideal, I still got to mess with it a little bit. But anyways, John did talk a little bit about the draft. He didn't get too much into it. I thought one of the more interesting comments that he made was saying that they have 20 first-round graded prospects. Maybe. I don't know. Felt like that could be a little bit of gamesmanship because I do think that the 49ers want to trade back. I think that would be the ideal situation. He even did mention how there's a ton of depth in this class, and any team will be able to find starters in the middle rounds, even on day 3. So I do think that the 49ers want to trade back. Will they get that option? I'm not really sure. And yeah, it was funny because right when John Lynch had said that, Adam Peters was also speaking to Commanders media, and he's basically saying we kind of have an idea of who's going to go in the top 10. But outside of that, no one knows because there's so many prospects that have questions. There's a lot of guys with potential. There's a lot of guys who could be the pick at 11, but those guys could also be available in the 20s. Like, you just don't really know. So I don't know if I totally believe John Lynch saying they have 20 first-round prospects. But if they do, that's a good sign for the 49ers because that means they have a lot of options to pick from. And, so we'll see. There might be a strong chance that the 49ers stick around and pick at 11. Obviously, I would love to see them move back, acquire more picks, try to get more picks in the top 100, and see what they can stack because they got 2 hits. They don't have the option to miss on any of these picks. It's just kind of the way the roster has been set up at this point. So we'll see. He did mention the comment about edge, you have to be able to set the edge in the run game, shocker, and you have to be able to get after the passer. So it's pretty standard operating procedure. Obviously, a top edge talent would be like Nick Bosa. They would be able to do both. They would be able to set the edge in the run game and get after the quarterback. That's obviously the name of the game when you're playing in the wide 9 and you got your hand in the dirt. But, nothing earth-shattering there. He did talk about the potential for prospects. He had mentioned that sometimes you do have to take a look at the stats or lack thereof, because how many times throughout the draft have we seen the guys who look great, test phenomenally, have all the measurables? They should be legit prospects, but they get to the NFL. They didn't have production in college. They get to the NFL, and it's the same thing. So I kind of like what he said. I think there's a middle ground. You have to be able to project out. You have to be able to see guys who maybe weren't utilized correctly. You have to be able to identify guys that had position changes, things like that. But I think a player that comes to mind is Shamar Stewart, right? A guy who tested phenomenally, had an amazing pre-draft process, but no one was talking about him before that. So we'll see how it goes. But anyways, I just wanted to get on here, have a quick conversation. Come on. Alright, well, this thing's all acting up. I got to get on my flight anyways, but shout out to you guys. Thanks for checking in. I'm headed to Green Bay right now. We're going to go to the draft, and we'll be covering it from there. But I'll see you guys in a little bit. Peace.